Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. This is your host, Fred Arnold, the chairman of the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce and host of the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm joined by Peggy Cannistraci. Did I get that right?
Cannistraci.
Yeah, Cannistraci. Thank you. A good Italian name.
That's why everyone just calls me Peggy.
Yeah, Peggy. From Math Support Services, let's talk about what you do and the lives you're able to change and how you're able to help so many learn math. Learn a subject that some people just struggle with. Tell me about your company.
Well, I started out as a frustrated parent. I have a degree in math, and I have a master's in math curriculum and instruction, and I decided, why can't we find a better way to do this? So in 1997, we were the very first to be accredited by Western Association of Schools and Colleges, which is the big accrediting board that does all the colleges and high schools, and that gave us the ability to be the first in the Western United States to offer courses that actually transfer back to the high schools. We work directly with the William S. Hart School District so that we can pace our classes, use the same curriculum, cover the same topics, and have them be proficient enough to join back into the school curriculum if that's what they would like to do. The students get a chance to remediate grades all the way to taking honors courses through calculus. We also have physics and chemistry and biology, so students who learn at a different pace are able to earn those credits and use them for college admissions purposes.
Well, let's talk about that, because coming from a young man that learned at his own pace myself, and having a son that certainly has enjoyed the fruits of being able to go to tutoring, let's talk about tutoring. Let's talk about when do you know that you need to get your son or daughter into a class? It's a little bit intimidating at first, and sometimes a parent doesn't know where to turn to.
Well, I think it's hard. In our culture here in the United States, students think that tutoring means that there's something wrong, and that they should be able to get it, understand it, and be proficient with the instruction they're getting at school. So there is a stigma to doing what I call supplemental instruction. In much of the world, parents support their children with supplemental instruction on a daily basis, regularly,
That's
like
typical.
daily. That's typical. So we take a different approach here in the United States. We want our children to be children and not lead as structured of lives as, say, in Asia. Although things are changing. We've got a brand new content standards and proficiency standards that are coming up called core content standards that will be implemented in the fall. This is going to change completely how mathematics is taught and what our children should know and be able to perform once they've taken a course. So in the long run, these are going to be fabulous. In the short run, it's going to be maybe a little bit painful for some students to change the way they learn and do mathematics.
And some parents, because
Yes.
half the battle
It's gonna flow
as
over.
a parent, I was very fortunate that my wife was very hands-on, but she would be frustrated because having to deal with our four children and their different educational styles and their different educational speed, you're able to take a lot of that stress off the family because you're an expert at that.
I think parents need to think of supplemental instruction in math or any other core area that their children need help in, more like music lessons. If your child was playing in an orchestra, you would not expect the orchestra director to give your child the help they needed to be proficient with the music. And just like music, you need full proficiency. You can't play 70% of the notes and think you're okay because you can get a C. That's the same way with math and science. They need full proficiency, and really the parent most of the time is not the best person to be in the role of the instructor.
Especially if it's not their core competency at what they're best at.
Well, there's also other underlying issues with relationships with teenagers, that's for sure.
Well, you have kids and I have kids, so we understand that, don't we?
Yes.
Let's talk about something my son experienced this past year, and that is the ability to take a class at an organization such as yours, a class that maybe is a bit of a struggle for your student. How does that look? How does that work? You do it in groups?
Yeah, we have our summer session. We'll start July 8th, and we will have everything from pre-algebra, algebra, 1 year geometry, chemistry, physics, all the way through calculus. And so they can take a class in a structured environment where the pacing calendar is set, yet all the remediation is available to them if they need it, so they can keep themselves on track to finish that summer program. Now, with some students, they need a more elongated program and they need more flexibility, and we have private classes that offer that as well. So in years past, we've had in total since 1997 over 5,000 students complete these courses with a 95% success rate. The majority of those are A's and B's because we allow students what we call the opportunity to do mastery learning. If you didn't understand it enough to pull a B or an A on the test, then you need to go back over it with someone, relearn it, and let's do it again. And so they lose their fear when you're saying, okay, it's all right, you tried, we don't quite have it yet, let's do it again, and that takes the fear out of it.
Yeah, let's talk about that just in life. When you're going through school, if you don't get it, you're going to get a grade, and they're on to something else.
That's right.
But when we graduate for college, you do something the same for 20 years, you get the opportunity to master it. Mm-hmm. This allows you to go back in a setting where you can master something before you move on, and you can get supplemental help. A lot of these kids, they're very visual and they need to see it 3 or 4 times, but then they know it better and will retain it better than the one that learned it the first time right away.
That's true. And also, parents now are starting to think about educational opportunities to enrich their children. So moving forward, how do you prepare your child for geometry or an honors course or Algebra 2 Trig or pre-calculus? Are they really ready to sit out the whole summer and then think they're going to walk into that classroom and be ready for that high-level course?
Yeah, and hit it right away, yeah.
And if you don't have a child that's at that level, doing something that connects the mathematics to something fun. Mm-hmm. We've got a class that starts through City of Santa Clarita, and it's coming up like next week. It's called Architecture and Art, and it is learning about architecture, but it's also designing models and building them, which you're going to use practical mathematics for. Going to keep those things going over the summer. Those are geared for younger children. We've also got one for study skills. Mm. Who doesn't need study skills? The most requested thing I have probably is my child does not know how to study. Mm. Well, over the summer we've got time to add in that as an enrichment.
And Peggy, those study skills last forever because they're skills that you take into the business world. Now, you, location, you're at where the old school was back, essentially located in Santa Clarita Valley, over behind, for lack of a better definition, Kmart, over by IHOP.
Actually, it's down a little further. It's by the IHOP. Kmart's up the street a little bit, and it's a beautiful Spanish-style building. Mass Support's main offices are up front, so you can see the sign right in front of the International House of Pancakes.
And my sister went to school there.
Yeah?
Yeah, some time back. That used to be a school.
Yeah, I think it was changed to commercial in the 70s. It works perfectly for our purposes because we have units in the back and in the wonderful courtyards that are in there. So
beautiful, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for coming in. Those that want to reach out and get more advice, how can they reach you?
You can reach me. I'll give you the phone number. It's 661-255-1730. But the easiest way is to go on the website, www.mathsupportservices.com. Just go into the contact area, and that email will come directly to me, and I'll help you with whatever you need.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Peggy from mathsupportservices.com, and an expert when it comes to helping your kid get over that little hump to make them excellent in the pursuit of education.
Or if they're gifted, be accelerated.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed this edition of the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. Just Fred Arnold on AM 1220 KHTS.